Hey guys, SoCal Val here. You are listening to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast.
We know who punched their WrestleMania paydirt. We know who is the Universal Champion. We know who the United States Champion is. And we're going to sit down and discuss this in a bit more detail on the Hitting the Turnbuckle channel with me, Adam Cousins, my colleague, Dave Robinson, and our special guest down below. It's the hat trick of appearances now. I don't know, does he get a hat, Dave, or what?
Oh, we can sort some of those, I think, yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to sort something out. It is former professional darts player, and you've been away, I think, as well, even playing. Matt, have you been you've been playing darts?
I'm still here now. So I'm in Romania at the moment in hotel room, which is why I'm sort of like looking down here because I haven't got my camera set or anything. So I'm doing it on my phone. But yeah, I'm still in the hotel in Romania. I'm going to be here for another day or so yet, and then get back. And then busy as always somewhere doing something.
Indeed. But there you go. Credit to him in Romania coming on the channel to talk wrestling. We do have to talk about an elephant in the room before we get into the Royal Rumble. News that come out, I think it was Thursday, Vince McMahon's sexual allegations. Dave, when I said to you at first thing, you said something along the lines of nothing surprises me when you hear about stuff with Vince. But I mean, if you've read the actual 62-page document, I'm sad enough to have done so. I don't know, Dave. I'm lost for words on it.
The only thing that surprises me is that it's been kept a secret for so long that nobody's come out previously and talked about it or outed him. Some of those, they are allegations at this point, but I think there's a fair bit of evidence there to support it. So, innocent until proven guilty, but he hasn't got a great track record, has he? So, yeah, horrible situation. Whether it will lead now to more people coming out and having the confidence to tell their stories and feel like that it's the time to kind of get everything out in the open, wouldn't surprise me at all if those list of charges and allegations grow in the next weeks and months.
It could do. I mean, Matt, Dave is right here that there could be a domino effect that starts. Now, he has resigned since from TKO and WWE, which is absolutely no surprise whatsoever. They did initially lose the Slim Jim sponsorship that come back. I mean, this was on the week that they announced a big Netflix deal. But as Dave said there, this could open up a massive door here.
I'm not really read too much. I'm not like I haven't read the 62-page document yet. I've not even read the front of it. I've just literally seen the headlines for it. So in regards to it, I don't know too much about it, but I do know that these things have that habit of snowballing, don't they? Like you say, when something starts, it normally sets the ball rolling, and there's always other bits that sort of get unearthed. But yeah, I don't know too much about the case. I know somehow Lesnar was involved somehow, but that's about all. I don't even know what his involvement has been because, like I say, I'm away at the minute. So yeah, I'm quite boring on that topic. So
okay, just to put it into to put it into some sort of detail, he sexually groomed an employee. He defaced her whilst having, let's just say, sexual contact, shall we say, according to the affidavit that come out, the documentation. There was texts in there. He paid her off with a load of different kind of rewards and such. That's why. And then partly what you're saying is true. Trying to renegotiate with Brock Lesnar, he asked this woman to, he got some pictures and stuff of this woman, sent it to Brock, was going to set up a meeting, so shall we say, with Brock and this employee who we're not naming. I mean, the name is out there, but we're not going to do that. And it only prevented, it was a snowstorm that prevented the shitstorm, so to speak, in a sense, in a lot of ways. That's the gist.
John Laurinaitis is heavily involved with
John Laurinaitis, yes, he's involved as well.
Apparently, the accusations are basically sex trafficking. Using her to wager deals with wrestlers and contracts. She was part of it. She was offered to wrestlers essentially, alongside the sexual relationship with him and with Vince and John Laurinaitis. So, yeah, they're quite serious accusations and things that have happened. Yeah, I don't know. I just struggle to understand they can't be the only people. There's got to be a lot of people that knew about this. I know there was non-disclosures, and I think the fact that they didn't pay the full amount of the non-disclosure that was agreed is why it's all come to light. They'd agreed 3 million quid or $3 million. She was paid $1 million, and they stopped paying after that, which is why she's decided to take it further, and they've broken the terms of the non-disclosure. So, yeah, that's why it's all come out now.
Yes, there you go. So that is it. And I'm going to say this, and I know, Dave, we have to be careful because we have certain eyes on this show watching us now, and we'll get into that a bit more later. But I'm going to say, and I never thought I'd say this because he was one of my heroes, but shame on you, Triple H, for when you was answered the question yesterday. You absolutely, and no disrespect when I say this, Dave, done a Tony Khan and just talked about everything else but the question that you was asked when you could have put it to bed. And big praise to the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, for actually having the balls to answer the question that he was given. So what it does prove at these Royal Rumble press conferences is that they're not vetted before the questions are asked. But you had an opportunity, maybe he couldn't for legal reasons, but when he was asked a question, all he was concerned about was the Netflix deal and the Royal Rumble's attendance record.
Yeah, I thought it was quite disappointing from Triple H. Just the way he handled it. As you say, he could have come out and said, "Look, I know that this story, or not story, these accusations and this issue is ongoing. I can touch on it, but I can't really go into too much detail because from a legal standpoint, you can't say a lot." He could have even issued some form of an apology. I'm not sure if it's Triple H's place to it, but perhaps a prepared statement in regards to it, because he was always going to get asked about it by the journalists. They've got an obligation to. WWE is a public company, a public trading company, so there is a responsibility there in terms of conduct. So to kind of brush it off and just try and talk about the positives and The Rock and the Netflix deal, I thought that was a bit disappointing, really.
Yeah. That's not the only pipe bomb I'm going to drop on this show, everyone. So just brace yourselves, because if Dave knows something, when I do drop a pipe bomb, it tends to be fairly, well, shall we say?
Oh, you go, mate. You go. When you go, you go.
Yeah, exactly. You had it this week on AEW. Well, you didn't drop pipe bombs as such, but you weren't
I was
happy.
grumpy on, yeah.
Yeah, you were grumpy indeed. Anyway, let's forget about that. Let's start the Royal Rumble itself. Matt, it started with the women's Royal Rumble. There was surprises. We saw returns. Naomi, Jade Cargill started the main roster journey. We saw TNA Knockouts champion Jordan Grace. In what, in my view, was the best match of the night, the best women's Royal Rumble has ever happened. Bayley took home took the WrestleMania payday. But Matt, that was a really good way to kick off the show. Plenty of surprises, plenty of fun, and just a really good Royal Rumble.
All those bits you put in there, and you never mentioned R-Truth at 24. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how he keeps. It's almost like he's just been given a bit of free rein. They've gone, do you know what? We trust you. You go do what you want to do. And he's absolutely nailing it time after time. I don't really like the whole comedy wrestling side of things, but he's nailing it. You're actually doing it in a way that when you watch it, you can't not. I'm smiling talking about it. So it just adds so much extra to. It's just another dimension. So yeah, absolutely love that bit. Dare I say that's that moment of that match? Can I get away with that?
Yeah. We'll let you off. We'll let you off. But Dave, Jade Cargill debut, obviously didn't look out of place. Didn't look as if there was any, there was no thing. She tossed Nia Jax around like a cruiserweight, albeit the first time. The second time, there's a little bit of an issue getting her up. But I haven't seen anyone easily pick up Nia Jax as easy as Jade Cargill did.
No, I thought it was star making. I think they booked it really strong. I think they did a real good job with Jordan Grace as well, or Jordan
Yes.
Grace from TNA, the current knockout champion.
Yeah.
The elimination as well of her, it was substantial. She was with Bianca Belair's finish on the apron.
Yes.
It looked really, really good as well, that elimination. It was really good.
I bet that sucked as well to take. That must have hurt.
Yeah.
Hardest part
That's
of the
a very hard part of the ring, that.
Yeah. But I thought Jade looked fantastic. As we said, we spoke about it a few years ago that she would be an absolute superstar in the WWE. She looks like a superhero. And yeah, the crowd went crazy for her. The crowd really reacted well for the artist formerly known as Trinity. She's Naomi again.
Yeah.
She was in Florida as well, where she's from. So yeah, she went down a storm, and she put in a real great performance as well. You know, she was in the ring for about an hour. So a nice little reintroduction to the company for her. I thought it was a pretty good rumble. There's a few sloppy moments. There's a few spots that didn't quite work.
Yeah.
There's a few moments that involve Maxine, which I think they just try and overcomplicate it with Maxine. She's not an experienced veteran. She's not like a Becky Lynch or a Bailey or someone like that. So they're not helping her, getting her to do head scissors and stuff. I would suggest keeping it simple. There's some good stuff with Chelsea Green though. I thought that was funny as well. But overall, I thought it was a good rumble, and I was glad that Bailey got her moment because of the other four horsewomen, I don't think Bailey at times she's had tag matches and she's had matches on WrestleMania, but at times she hasn't really been the focal point.
No.
And I think she deserves it.
She certainly does. Yeah, big mention to Jordan Grace didn't look out of place, and I don't want to upset anyone at TNA here when I say this, but if that performance doesn't get her a WWE contract sometime in the future, I don't know what will.
Or does she have it already? Because I've been saying to you on private message, I think they're in bed together.
Yeah, there's going to be more crossovers and more TNA involvement.
They're on the same streaming platform.
Okay.
So they're both on Endeavor. I think TNA are doing something with Endeavor. WWE obviously owned by Endeavor, so there is that crossover there. And as Matt has said, we've been talking on direct message about potential crossovers with TNA and maybe WWE have some involvement. So yeah, I kind of agree. I don't think it's the last we may see, but in general, though, she just performed so well and to get that moment. But the question now, be it Matt, which I think I know the answer to, and Dave, you may know as well, where does Bailey go from here?
WrestleMania.
Well, of course, as you will as well.
That's that one dealt with, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, next. Now, in terms of championship, we fully expect her to go against Io Sky. We expect the damage control kind of explosion or kick out of Bailey to happen as we lead into WrestleMania. But is Bailey and Io Sky, is that a WrestleMania match that you're going to be there for 2 nights? Is that a match that you're looking forward to seeing?
If it's built right. If it's built right, you've got to have the right story. It can't just be for the sake of it. And I think there's a good story that can be told there. And there's so many dynamics to that, isn't there? And that you can get a real deep storytelling. And that's something I'm really looking forward to about this year's WrestleMania, actually, because every single match that's sort of been rumored or sort of picked together, that's where you go, actually, there's a lot of deep storytelling, there's a lot of meaning behind these matches, to the point where when we're talking about someone like The Rock, it's like, where does he actually fit in? Because the storytelling now and the opportunities, Triple H said that WWE's never been in a better position now since the Attitude Era.
Yes.
And I've got to agree, because the talent has never been so deep, and sort of the opportunities now, and like, there's so many directions you could go with it. But yeah, I think you've pretty much banged on there with it.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll tell you where The Rock goes from here. Apparently, host of WrestleMania.
Okay.
Where The Rock is going to be. The Rock and Roman is not scheduled this WrestleMania. It's scheduled this year, but not WrestleMania, which kind of alludes to whether or not Cody will finish the story. But that's another rant for a bit later.
Yeah, I think that match, Rock and Roman, will be SummerSlam. I think, not getting too ahead of ourselves, but I think The Rock will be involved with the finish of the match, or the finish of the Roman match at Mania.
Yeah. Agreed.
We'll probably discuss that a little bit more after talking about the winner of the Men's Rumble.
Yeah, we will do that. Next was the Fatal 4-Way. It was quite surprisingly placed, but, I suppose unless it was main eventing, you would kind of have it at maybe that point. I don't know. Positional place on the card was interesting. There was only 4 matches on the show. It was Roman, it was LA Knight, it was AJ Styles, it was Randy Orton. Rant 2 incoming. I am fucking sick and tired of Solo Sikoa in the same position of the match every single time, getting involved. Now, I know it's a story and I know it's not him, it's the way it's booked. But Dave, I can't. For me now, Roman Reigns' reign is just it's just not even working for me anymore now, because If he wins matches clean, fair. I get it. That's great. And that's how he was built initially. Now he can't take a piss without Solo holding his dick.
Yeah, but this is something that's been going on for so long now with Solo. I mean, probably since Clash at the Castle, wasn't it? I
Yeah,
mean,
near enough.
it's going back that long. So I think it's actually a very deliberate thing to frustrate the hell out of us,
It's working.
which will hopefully make the moment at WrestleMania. We were all expecting, perhaps expecting it last year, surely going to get it this year. I think it might make it even better. So I totally understand what you're saying. It is a bit of a farce now, and as you say, it's the same formula,
Hmm.
but it's been going on for so long, and I fully expected it as well. Certainly with the Fatal 4-Way rules being out the window as well.
Yeah.
It was never going to be like clean, if you like. So yeah, I didn't have such an issue with it. I suppose the only negative is that it was very predictable.
Yeah.
You know, I like the fact that those guys were competing for the title, but there was no way in the world that Roman was going to drop the title. So I'm not really sure a better way around that, or a way of doing it. But
Hmm.
yeah, just the way that they've positioned it, if Roman's going to lose the title, it's going to be at WrestleMania. Um, so yeah, difficult one, but I do understand your frustrations. What did you think of it, Matt?
Well, I think you might have just hit two nails on the head, really. One, in the fact that he's pissing you off, and two, in the fact that Rock might be in the building hosting the show and may get involved in the finish,
Yeah,
and there's your family line story, which leads you to your whole head of the table battle. So maybe it's a thing that he's going to cancel out that Solo factor when it comes to WrestleMania,
yeah,
and it's building you up to be annoyed. It might be that you're reacting exactly how they want you to.
Yeah.
So if it is, then it's perfect storytelling once again, which again wouldn't surprise me at the moment because they're getting so much right.
yeah.
They are. They're doing a lot right. I thought the match was great, by the way. I loved the match. I thought, apart from that bit alone, it hit everything it needed to hit. I mean, the RKO when he was trying to do the Superman punch was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah,
A picture perfect RKO. And then,
Orton's been really good since he's come back, hasn't he? There were
yeah,
there were question marks over him physically, and if he could perform at the high level still, and a lot of back issues, he had a lengthy layoff. But he's come back. He's looked really, really good for me.
yeah, Matt, you've mentioned this. You mentioned the depth of roster. I mean, going into WrestleMania now, you've got to say, right, well, where does Orton fit into this? Where does AJ Styles fit into this? Where does LA Knight fit into this? And they're probably going to do some big battle royal, but you can't expect those guys to be in like an Andre the Giant battle royal, can you?
Well, it
No,
just shows again like what we can actually do, certainly storyline wise. Anyway, I'd personally like to see the Orton Cena battle because Cena's not got long left, has he? And
No.
I'd like to see Cena Hall of Fame and then retirement match if he loses, which ultimately he would. And Orton's the perfect fit. But then I saw an interview with Cena where he said he might have 3 years left where he can keep coming back into it again, and it's like
Yeah, he did
that kind of
say.
ruins that dream.
Yeah, he did say that he wanted to, he's 47 and he's planning on having it all done by 50. And Dave, he did mention that the arena he would like to retire in is the O2 arena. Now, whether or not he was being interviewed from an English presser, so whether or not that was
yeah,
just doing that. But I mean, Matt Edgar's right here. I mean, where do we go with these guys? The roster is so deep. I mean, do they? I mean, I think Money in the Bank's a pay-per-view this year, so you can rule that out as well. I mean, you've even got the things like Judgment Day, Priest, Balor, Money in the Bank briefcase still hasn't been cashed in yet. There's so much. I mean, they're going to need 3 nights.
yeah. I mean, not just that. Just those are all the obvious ones to some degree, but they've done such a good job of booking their women's division.
Mm.
I think this year they're going to have 3 singles women's matches, which I don't think they've done before. I know they've had tag matches and mixed teams and stuff. But I think they'll have the 2 championship matches, and it wouldn't surprise me if we got something like a Jade Cargill versus Bianca Belair because their exchange is very good in the Rumble.
Mm.
So I think they're doing such a good job telling stories and building characters, that they've created themselves a massive problem, which is great for us as fans. But you do look at it and think some of those wrestlers, some of those top stars, they're gonna be missing out. You got the likes of Lashley as well, and there's so many. We could keep reeling them off for the next half an hour. They're not all going to get on the show. So yeah, interesting. A great place to be. Another big show coming up prior to WrestleMania in Australia, and I'm sure there'll be implications there for Mania as well. So hopefully Seth's back by Mania as well.
Well,
We
that's
need
the
some
other.
star power against Gunther as well, don't you? That's the thing. So
Mhm.
maybe we see a fatal four-way on that to replace what ultimately looked like it was going to be Lesnar, didn't it, originally?
Yeah.
But I think he needs someone with some star power. So maybe you're chucking a fatal four-way in there for
Yeah,
Gunther.
you could
But
do.
yeah, I think we speculated that Lesnar and Gunther could be going one-on-one.
That's out of the question now.
Yeah, well, he was rumored that he was meant to be at the Rumble and Bron Breakker took his spot.
Mhm.
That's what I've read today. So it
Yeah.
looks like Lesnar's going to be, whether he'll be back for Mania or not. I suppose it depends what happens with these allegations.
Yeah, I mean, there's enough time for Lesnar to come back. I mean, they have a big 6 weeks from Elimination Chamber to wrestle, and that's the 6 weeks I generally don't like on TV because it's a lot of filler in that time, and they have to do certain things to, there'll obviously be the stories in the background, but it'll
Yeah.
always be leading up to one thing, which is WrestleMania. And obviously, then you've got a kind of nice deflection to where we're going now. We've got to look at the US title picture. Logan Paul against Kevin Owens. Yeah, it was okay. Logan Paul's a star in the ring. I don't like the guy personally, but I think he's a star. He does it well. He takes it seriously, which is good. But Dave, another one for me where we've seen this. We've seen the finish before in using a different way. Normally they give the brass knucks to Paul. He hits the rest. He hits whoever he's fighting, and it's 1, 2, 3. This time he nicely put it, kind of like an Eddie Guerrero-esque finish
Yeah.
for this one.
Well, I don't generally like DQ finishes. They can be really frustrating, particularly at pay-per-views or premium live events. But I've got to admit, I thought this one worked really well. I thought the production of it as well, and the camera shot when the ref clocked that the brass knucks were on Kevin Owens' hand. I thought that was really, really well done. And obviously, Owens, for you kind of totally understood why he did it, but he shouldn't have done it. And I
Yeah.
think that you saw that frustration with himself afterwards. So yeah, I didn't mind this. I thought they worked pretty well together. I think perhaps Logan Paul drops the title at Mania to LA Knight. I think that would be the direction they go. They've already set something up previously, haven't they? Between those two. Um, but again, that begs the question then, what happens with Kevin Owens? What happens with him at going into Mania? Because he surely deserves to be on the card. Yeah, a lot of questions, but I didn't mind this finish, which if you'd have told me there was going to be 4 matches and one ended up in a DQ, I would say, I'd question that a little bit, but I thought it actually worked well. What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, every time I see Logan Paul, I'm always sat there going, oh, he surprises me, he surprises me. And I've got to that point now where I've just got to accept that he's bloody good,
Yeah.
you know. And you've just got to start just assuming he's just a wrestler like everybody else now. I do agree, though. I think it's set up for LA Knight, and I think putting the belt on Logan was a stroke of genius for everything else that he's done with that belt. And I think he puts a lot of eyes on it. It's a belt that's sort of gone kind of irrelevant for quite a little bit of time.
Yeah.
And it sort of got relevancy back again because ultimately everyone wants him to lose the belt. So by people wanting him to not have the belt, it's made people care about the belt. So it stroke of genius on all parts. But yeah, I do think that'll be LA Knight's moment, and that'll probably be, I dare say, probably the biggest title he's going to have.
Yeah, more than likely. They hasn't ruled out. They've still been talking about Logan Paul Cena as well. So maybe we could throw Cena into that if he's not with Randy Orton. We don't obviously. That's something that we don't know, but it's another match to add on to a 2-night card that seemed to be. It's going to be like one of yours, Dave, when you booked the AEW WWE fantasy booking that we did. You had like 17 matches that you had to wield down to 8.
Yeah.
Which was,
Let alone a third night, they could probably put on a week of WrestleMania.
Don't
We'll have
because
to get some time off.
Matt will have to increase his time off and pay a lot more money.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's already about a week-long event, isn't it, with Hall of Fame and the
Yeah.
Raw and
NXT, SmackDown, and all of that stuff that you got to look forward to as well. To go with me and Dave have obviously done that. Apart from NXT, we haven't done the stand and deliver.
I think what they'll probably do is they'll set up a really good SmackDown, in the lead up to it on the Friday night before, and a really strong Raw after that. They're not going to be able to get everything on the 2-night card.
No,
so it's going to be certain stars that are just there prior and after, and part of the story. But they don't go. I mean, we saw 4 matches at the Rumble. Triple H has generally been booking 6 matches on a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So maximum 12 matches, you would say.
Mania gets longer, I think, because it's actually longer as a whole as a pay-per-view. So I think that would probably be squeezed to maybe 6 to maybe 8,
seven.
7 or 8 a night. So you're looking at 16 potentially, but not including the kickoff shows as well. So you got a lot
You
to
might just
watch.
get some random matches though. Remember when they did that battle royal and
Yeah.
out of nowhere, for no reason, Tatanka was just in it? It's like,
Yeah.
like, where did he appear from? Like there was no mention of him at any point, and then it's like, oh look, there's Tatanka, and
Yeah.
you only noticed it when he got chucked out.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I know we haven't got to the men's rumble yet, but in the women's or the men, there weren't any like legends in there. You know,
No.
any old timers, as you say,
No.
not particularly old, but you know what I mean. Not on the active roster, perhaps retired from in-ring competition. So that seems to be a bit of a change of direction as well, because we normally get one or two, don't we? You book
Normally
it.
get the Ivories or the people like the Molly Hollies and the people like that normally show up in
Yeah.
one.
See,
Which
this is an interesting point because I had this conversation earlier, and I says I'm sort of disappointed that you don't get those surprises. And then I thought, well, who is there? Who would be a surprise? The only two people I came up with was X Pac and Cardona.
Yeah.
After that, who would be a surprise? Like, who actually is there? Who you'd go, oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah. There is that. There is that to it on the men's side. There wasn't
But
really many.
also as well, because of the state of play in wrestling across the board at the minute, there's so many more opportunities for people. So people are under contract at AEW, TNA, New Japan, MLW. So I know there's like working relationships now, but yeah, they weren't going to bring out too many TNA stars.
No.
But they've got such a good roster themselves. I did like the NXT
Yeah.
corners, if you like, in the men's rumble. But
Yeah.
I take it we're getting to discuss that now, mate.
Good
Men's rumble.
segue, Dave. Well done. You're getting better at this. You've only been doing it a year. Well done. So we had to segue into the men's Royal Rumble. As you rubbed it, there was returns in this. There was a big NXT. One of the returns in it, Dave, I really wanted to get your quick note on, was Andrade from AEW returning back to WWE after leaving. And this goes back to Matt's point again, which was such a good point about the depth. I mean, he's there now. You've got like the Authors of Pain, you've got Karrion Kross, you've got Lashley and the Street Profits. I mean, the Street Profits and the Authors of Pain weren't even in the Royal Rumble.
No.
They weren't even, nor was Chad Gable, nor was Otis. Where does Andrade fit in all of this?
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they would have kept his call up or kept him off until the Raw after Mania. I know that's a little while from now, but I just, with all the stories going on at the minute and the LWO stuff as well, it was just difficult to see where he fit. I thought it was a pretty cool moment, like any surprise in the Rumble. You know, he looked great. You know, he got booked well in there as well. He wasn't just quickly eliminated and thrown out. So the signs are good. I think Triple H is a big fan of him. But yeah, where does he fit? Does he go to Raw? Does he go to SmackDown? You know, we've seen some of the caliber matches that he has. We saw that in his run in AEW. But as Matt alluded to earlier, you know, we need stories, and there's so many stories going on, or you know, to lead to matches that have been set up over the past few months for Mania. It's hard to see where somebody fresh back into the company fits in with those plans.
Could he, Matt, end up on NXT again?
That's where I'd put him.
Yeah.
Because at the moment he's just going to get diluted, isn't he? So that, oh wow, that was cool, will wear off by tomorrow, and he's going to get swallowed up by stories that are much bigger than his star power, and then just dilute every bit of stock that he's got until he once again is bottom of the card.
Yeah.
So if I was him, I would be saying put me on NXT because at least he's got stock there where he'd actually have purpose.
Yeah, definitely. So
if you got I haven't watched too much of NXT. I know it's a really good show at the minute, but if you've got guys like Bron Breakker and Carmelo Hayes going to the main roster, then maybe that frees up that space at the top of the card at NXT where Andrade could have a sustained, you know, title run there and build his stock back up and have some great matches at the same time.
Yeah, I have introduced Trick Williams a little bit. He was on SmackDown this week. I don't know if that's because he's still Carmelo Hayes is still technically on NXT at the minute. So I think they're mid to pushing towards the end of the storyline of who attract Trick Williams, which I'm assuming eventually will end up being Carmelo Hayes. And interestingly, again, we go back to this whole depth and where do they fit in. Numbers 1 and 2 in the men's Royal Rumble, Matt, were the Usos and Jimmy and Jay. we're expecting them to collide at Mania at some point. And there's even some people in saying it should main event night one.
About a month or so ago, when you could see the direction it was all going, or maybe even 2 months, when you thought, right, you've got the Usos, you're gonna have Cody and Roman, the Punk and Rollins, and it's all sort of such shape. And then you think, how are they going to put all this off for 6 months without any of them like colliding or clashing or coming, like having interaction? But they've managed it.
Yep.
It's managed to happen, which means we're going to get good build. We're going to get deep build. And I mean, that's a match that sells itself, isn't it? You don't need any more to it. It's a match they both want. It's a match they both openly put out in interviews saying that they want that match. And I think they've probably been planning this match for many. There was probably like teenagers in the back garden planning this match at some point. So this is going to be like, I wouldn't be, but it's not going to main event night one. It's going to be the two belts, but it's going to be a main event caliber match, and it's going to be one of those that potentially I'm going to go risky here, that we put in the Taker Michaels bracket.
Definitely so. Dave, do we rule out the father of the Usos being a referee or some kind of involvement in that match?
Yeah, not sure referee. I don't know how mobile he is these days, Big Quiche. Maybe, but he could be certainly be at ringside or some kind of guest enforcer. It's interesting as well if Solo fits into the picture, but as we discussed earlier, we expect Solo to play some role in the main event at Mania. So perhaps they just keep it at one-on-one. You know, Uso's such a great tag team. They've got so much to work with, so much history, obviously from birth. So they've already told a fantastic story, but they can lead it to a really great match, a lot of good, promos and interactions on the mic in the run up to WrestleMania. I think that's a match that has to be on the card. I think particularly Jey Uso. I'm not to say that Jimmy doesn't deserve it, but I think Jay's so popular, gets such a huge reaction from the crowd. Matt, you're going to love it. When he comes out, the crowd goes absolutely ballistic. So I think Jay really deserves that marquee match at WrestleMania. So yeah, you would suggest that that's going to take a spot on the card.
Matt, you have to do all this when the Jay comes out. I need to see.
Can't wait. It's so good because when I was watching it and it comes up 70 days till WrestleMania, it feels so different when you go in. Yeah. You think that countdown for me.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it absolutely. I mean, Dave, we've been there. We know this. This is,
screenshotting it, send it to each other. Look how many days. It's like the countdown to Christmas, isn't it?
It certainly is. You just get your own advent calendar. 60, like, every door opens like, I don't know, a wrestler or some kind of. Dave, what an idea. We should look at that.
Market it.
What a market. WWE, if you're watching this, you might have switched off after my initial rant, but road to WrestleMania calendar.
WrestleMania advent calendars,
yeah, that sounds like an absolute steal. I'm surprised I haven't thought about that already. Come to think of it, but another man we need to talk about in the men's Royal Rumble. The match itself was a bit blah, but Braun Breaker. Now you're right, Dave. Earlier on, he was taking the place of Brock Lesnar, and apparently everything was set out exactly as Brock Lesnar's would have been. So in which case, Matt, Brock Lesnar would have been eliminated by Dominic Mysterio.
I hope that's not true.
That is.
I hope that's not what was meant to happen.
But it was apparently so. Apparently everything went as. I mean, this is according to a reputable journalist in America, Dave Meltzer, who said that Dave Braun Breaker's run. It was very impressive. I mean, the Omos elimination. Braun Breaker though, Dave, smells main event and smells money. But again, the problem is. Unless is he the one to dethrone Gunther?
Yeah, I suppose it's not beyond the realms of possibility. I would suggest he's more one for the future, and perhaps he may be involved. He might be in a multi-man. I mean, we don't. I think from what he said, actually, after the event, he is a part of the main roster now. I don't know if you saw that, but so it looks like he's done with NXT. Yeah, again, a top star in the making. He's got the Steiner family as well. There's a lot of heritage there, and And yeah, he's definitely somebody that you could see main eventing pay-per-views before, or premium live events before long. Um, in in all, I thought the men's Rumble was pretty kind of predictable, but well put together. I think everything made a lot of sense. There was a lot of interactions that made sense. You know, even from starting up with the Usos and how it finished with Cody and Punk. Um, you know, I think I've read a lot of criticism about it. And maybe it was a little bit too safe. Maybe I don't know. I think we set our expectations quite high, and we expect like 20 surprises, but it's not going to happen. And the guys that are there week in week out, they deserve their spots as well. I mean, you don't want 30 guys in there that you've just got no chance of winning.
No.
But at the same time, you know, you've got to utilize the roster. And yeah, I think it was always going to be Cody or Punk. I actually thought Punk was going to win. So it kind of surprised me in terms that Cody won back to back.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not too down on it, to be honest. I thought it was a pretty decent match, pretty good watch.
We have to.
I thought they hidden it well.
Yeah.
They hidden Rhodes win well. Like if you'd have gone back a year ago, you go, all right, Rhodes wins the Rumble again. But then going into it, everyone thought Gunther was going to go win it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was just because the promo beforehand. And then if it's not Gunther, it's going to be Punk. And Rhodes was actually the third name on the list. And they hidden that win so well.
Yeah.
Again, great storytelling.
Indeed. We have to mention Pat McAfee.
Yeah, it was a moment of levity. I mean, I did it. I don't like wasted spots in the Rumble, so I did think, but it, you know, it was what I'll give them one. I would rather it not. I'd rather it be somebody that's there week in, week out, or a surprise.
Yeah.
You know, McAfee. I think he did a fair enough, a decent job on commentary.
Yeah.
You know, and to have him in that role, you know, from time to time, I don't see the problem with that. He's a big star in America as well, and so he's going to bring guys to the product. But in terms of being in the Rumble, I wasn't crazy about that. I was just glad that Cole didn't enter.
It crapped all over everything they did. They just did
Yeah.
the whole SmackDown thing where everyone come in picking numbers, and apparently he didn't know he was in it.
Yeah.
It just crapped over the whole of SmackDown. Like, what did
Good
they do?
point,
Do the roller thing, leave one ball in there, and go right. We'll just give that to him. Like, and we're not going to tell him about it. Like, for all the things we said, oh, great storytelling, they absolutely just ruined the whole night's worth of show.
Yeah.
That's a fair point, Matt, to be fair.
Yeah. That is a fair point. I wasn't a fan of it. I found it hot, a little bit amusing, but because he was in there with Gunter and Omos, and he quickly decided, nah, I'm going to go back to the commentary desk. Yeah, but you are right. It was a wasted spot, which could have gone to like a Cardona or even a member like a Chad Gable. Yeah, someone that maybe deserves it. We'll start to get to the end of the Rumble. Now we're gonna one of the last few people in there, Dave, quickly before we move on to the finish. Drew McIntyre. Now, someone that we know is not signed a new contract as of us going on ahead this evening anyway. Potentially someone who will show up on Dynamite pretty soon after maybe WrestleMania, perhaps. And do you think that's why, Dave, they're not putting him in that picture?
I'm not sure, because I thought he'd kind of got a renewed, you know, his performances lately have been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's because he's on the way out and he's proving that they're making a mistake, or that he's worth more, or that he should be in a better position, or whether he's on his way out and looking to the future, if you like. I'm not sure. I've heard mixed things about Drew and whether he's staying or whether he's going. It'd be a huge signing for whoever he goes to. Same as Sheamus, to be honest. I'm not sure what the current situation is with Sheamus. But again, if he does stay, where does he fit into this big puzzle that we've been talking about for the last half an hour?
Exactly. Sheamus is injured, so he will have time added to his contract. So I don't know when that's due, but they'll add time. Matt, let's talk about the end. It come down to Cody and Punk. Cody eliminated Gunter exactly the same way as he eliminated him last year, which was great. Then Cody and Punk had a little, I suppose, 10-minute to do in the ring. And as soon as Punk uttered those words, he's not come back to lose to Dusty's kid, I knew exactly what was going to happen. Cody wins and obviously ultimately will go on, and we know where that story's going. Does he finish the story at WrestleMania, or does Roman break Hulk Hogan's record?
First of all, I love the fact that they had extra, like proper time in the finish, because traditionally they get down to the last two, oh, out you go, thanks for coming. It's too quick. This felt like a match at the end of the match.
Yeah.
Which, with the build that they had between the two of them, I thought was absolutely spot on, that they had time to get that altercation. And with the promo they had on a Raw, where what would be like the next day and all that, they had to have that sort of face off where it went through, which was brilliant. Ultimately, I do think if Cody doesn't, you've killed him. If he doesn't win the belt again, like, no one's going to buy into it a third time.
No.
So he has to do it. I think we've nailed it earlier on, where I think The Rock's going to be involved in that match, because I think the second we saw Cody pointing at Roman, we're like, right, that's Rock not involved here. I also saw a rumor that Rock's potentially going at 40, because it's the first one on Netflix, isn't it? 41. So there's also that rumor potentially there for a year build, which we know we did with Cena. But ultimately, to answer the question, I think Cody takes the belt. I think that's how WrestleMania ends, and then Roman moves to a build that will be a lot slower, because obviously he's part-time, and I think it'll suit them perfectly to have a slow build over a full year.
Indeed, it could well do. Dave, two things. Did you notice the nod to the Elite that Cody done at the end of Royal Rumble? And secondly, what did you make of CM Punk's overall performance?
I like Cody's little tribute. I think the book's posted out on X as well about it. It was the Too Sweet and the gun as well, Kenny's gun, you could call it. In terms of Punk, I didn't think he looked very good, like physically. I think on the mic he's been awesome. He tells, it's the most captivating promos, and he makes you want to see his matches. But physically, I thought he was very kind of slow and laboured, and even the way he was bumping. But you've got to cut him a bit of slack. It's only his third match in 5 months or something like that.
Yeah.
So he probably needs more, but I suppose it's that, he's had some injuries as well, hasn't he, in the last few years? So it's weighing up the best way of utilising him. I really enjoyed, as Matt said, that little exchange, the match at the end. It was like a one-on-one match. It was a bit of a preview as well, because I'm sure we're going to see Punk against Cody down the line, one-on-one for the title, which I do think Cody will win at the WrestleMania. The only doubt I have, see, I've spoke all year that it was a mistake that Cody should have won the belt, but Cody to me this year does feel like a bigger star than he was last year. They've done a fantastic job. I mean, he's the cover star on the new game.
Yeah.
I think he was on Jimmy Fallon in America the other day. So he is by all accounts the face of the company, more so than he was last year. So even though he lost that match, he's somehow elevated himself. So is there an argument that you do something similar? I don't think so. I think now's the time to pull the trigger and put the title on him and finish the story. I'm sick of hearing that term as well.
Yeah.
I think it's time to do that. And with Roman, he's been a part-time champion. And I think you can do that for so long. He's an attraction. But it does get to a point where you want to be seeing more of your champion week in, week out. I think everything just comes together and it's the time to do it. And the fact that you've got The Rock there to negate any Solo Sikoa involvement and set up that head of the table match for perhaps, as you say, Matt, next year's WrestleMania, or even SummerSlam later on this year. I think those pieces are in place, and I think that's the way they should go.
Yeah, maybe so. Let's do Rumble ratings. Matt, out of 10, what do you give the Royal Rumble and why?
Oh, we'll go. I think it's a solid 7, isn't it? It didn't do anything flashy. It didn't do anything amazing, predictable at times, but it's the Royal Rumble, isn't it? That's what you get. You said earlier about you don't get 20 surprises and things. The Royal Rumble's all about short 10-second moments.
Yeah.
Guy comes in the ring, 10 seconds, it all fizzles out, and we wait for the next 10-second spot. And it was just what it is. It was just a traditional Royal Rumble. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't bad. It was just a show we all love once a year.
Yeah.
Indeed. Dave, over to you.
7.5 for me. Yeah, I thought it was solid. That's the words I'd use. Solid, as Matt said. Didn't pull up any trees. I wasn't coming away from it thinking that's the best premium live event I've ever watched or the best Royal Rumble I've ever watched, but I certainly wasn't kind of disappointed or thought that was a waste of, the best part of 4 hours. I thought, it was pretty good. Sets up what, started now to really set up what's going to be a massive WrestleMania. It always was going to be the 40th WrestleMania. And some of the matches that we were suspecting and obviously knowing who the champions are. Well, we've got long-term champions as well. Say the Gunther one's a fascinating one, and what you do with him and what match he's in, who he's against, whether it's a multi-man, whether it's a one-on-one, whether it's Brock Lesnar, there's so many questions to be answered, but I thought the Royal Rumble was a great kind of first step on that road to WrestleMania.
Well, you left it to me to finish. For me, it was I'm sorry, but I'm only going to give it a 4.
Oh,
I'll tell you why.
Gosh.
I am sick to death of finishing in story. I'm sick to death of predictable finishes. I'm sick to death of Solo Sikoa getting involved in Roman's matches.
yeah, nappy Matt.
No, I'm not happy, but nor was you, Dave, during the AEW thing. So I give, and that's the reasons why the women. If the women's Royal Rumble match isn't on there, I don't even think I'd grade it.
Yeah,
Honest with you, the 4 is because of the women's match.
yeah.
I love that, and I loved everything about it. But we are on the road to WrestleMania, so hopefully we've got the Elimination Chamber coming up, where we assume Punk's probably going to be in that chamber because he's going to have to get a shot somehow, and Roman's going to be sorted out. So that match will obviously be there. So we're assuming that the men's Elimination Chamber will be for whoever takes on Seth. So assuming then, Matt, Punk's going to have to win it.
You don't want predictability, but I think that's probably one of the most predictable things we can put in there, because they're not going to not put those two together, and it's a main event match, and it's a main event match everyone wants to see as well. So yeah, one way or another, but that's the most logical solution, isn't it?
Yeah. Dave, when does the cash-in happen?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I don't think the cash-in happens this side of WrestleMania, to be totally honest.
Does it determine? Sorry, don't interrupt, Dave. Does it hinge on whether Seth can go at WrestleMania or not?
Yeah, and that's the thing with Punk. I mean, I think it was a smart decision for him to not win the Rumble, because he's kind of left the company, been out for 10 years, come back, and to just win that match and then, be in the main event of WrestleMania. I don't know. I think he needs to go through a bit of hardship, and that Elimination Chamber allows them the opportunity to do that. The only uncertainty, as you say, is Seth's injury. So it might be that the Elimination Chamber is actually for the title if it's confirmed that Seth won't be able to defend it. We'll wait and see on that. In terms of the cash-in, I think it would be a very, imagine Cody over finishing the story, winning the title at WrestleMania, and Damian Priest leaves WrestleMania. I can't see that. It'd be amazing in some respects, but maybe they save that for the Raw the night after. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they just hold on to it. Because when did he win it? Or what month was it?
Money in the Bank. I went to Money in the Bank. May.
August.
May.
Oh, May.
Oh, when was Money in the Bank? Jesus, my son. I gave it to him for myself. Oh, July, wasn't it?
I thought he was later on in the summer, so I think he's still got quite a while yet. Because he's got a year, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Well, he's got until the next Money in the Bank. So, so yeah, he's got some time yet to cash in. I just think it would convolute things too much, and it's kind of you don't want to see him cash it in and just lose. And you think he's carried this briefcase around for so long, and then just what was the point? But with everything else that's going on and the title picture, the people they've got coming back, perhaps in terms of Lesnar's, your Cena's, people like that, I don't want Damian Priest to be lost in the shuffle. He's too good a performer, and they obviously think a lot of him to put that briefcase on him. So I don't think the time's for a cash in, in the lead up to WrestleMania.
Just before we wrap up, I've got 2 words for you, Matt, and I want to know this is away from wrestling, and I want to know your thoughts on this. Luke Littler.
I thought they were going to be the 2. I'm glad they weren't the other 2, which DX used to use. So unbelievable, isn't he? Unbelievable talent. Potential to be the greatest player ever.
Yeah. Do you think because I mean, obviously he's in a lot of, I mean, again, we are sidetracking here a little bit, but I'm keen because I'm a big darts fan, as you know. Watched the Dutch Darts Open yesterday, saw the Bahrain one. And I remember talking to Paul Nicholson a little bit after we spoke to you the first time, and he was saying about how the schedule was so grueling that that when he saw Dobie a little while after the Premier League, he looked absolutely shattered and out of it. Is there a risk that he could burn out too soon?
Not him.
No? Okay.
No, it is different. It is completely different. One of the first times I ever met him, he came down to the Super Series. He's playing 6 days of darts. First thing he said, Matt, is there anywhere I can practice? Why do you want to practice? You're playing 6 days tournament here. Like, just have a day off, just travel on the Sunday. You don't need to play. But he did. He went out playing. Then he plays Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then he's in the local open on Wednesday night. And it's like, you've just played 3 days. You've got another 3 days to go. You're playing for, what, 6.25 in terms of prize money here. And it's like, stop going and play. But he would play darts if there was an open on at the end of the street for a tenner. So I don't worry about him in that sense at all. And with the money now that's in the game, we don't need players are worried about it because in the past you needed to be a player that would play into your 50s or your late 40s to make sure you earned what you need to do. The money that's in the game and what he's getting already, he could have a footballer's type career where when we're coming into the 30s, you go, okay, that's time to call it a day if he's sensible with his money and his investments and everything that's coming his way, because he's going to be a millionaire in probably this next year. So, financially, it's not going to be a problem for him. So he doesn't need a 30, 40-year career. He needs a 10-year career or a 15-year career. So I think he'll more than have that. I was around when Van Gerwen came through, Adrian Lewis, Stephen Bunting. I've seen everybody, Bristow, Taylor. I've been around for everybody. Maybe not so much Bristow's prime, but I've sort of seen prime everybody. And this lad is the best I've ever seen.
He's different gravy.
And that's not just because what we're seeing now. I was saying this back in March, and I've been pushing this ever since.
I'm sure you posted about it.
I did. I think I first posted about him in February.
We should have put Dave. We needed to put money on this. We should have put money on this stuff. And the guy is absolutely sensational. And he's a wrestling fan. I see a picture of him doing a John Cena pose.
WWE's invited him to the show. Yeah, he's going down.
He's going down to the WWE show. So, Luke, if you've got 20 minutes in your schedule and you want to come and talk some wrestling, you know where we are. You won't because you're going to be too busy playing darts. But the offer's there, Luke, anyway.
I think so.
Yeah, exactly. Matt, it's been wonderful having you back on for the third time, and you'll be on again for sure. Thank you for taking up some time while you're in Romania. How are you getting on, by the way?
We're all done now, so we're coming back tomorrow, which is good because I'm in the most bonkers hotel room you could ever imagine. Right, I'm going to show you this. This is brilliant. So it's going to turn the camera slightly. So this is our hotel room. Look, there's a shower, like literally in the room. And it's got a glass door and everything on it. So it's like, and that's the bathroom over there. So there's a toilet, literally no bathroom door or anything, or not even a curtain, just a glass door for the shower and for the toilet. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. What commitment anyway for you to come talk to us from Romania. We really appreciate that. Dave, we are going to be back tomorrow. We're talking to CJ Carter, the GM of Ignite, because this time next Sunday, we'll unfortunately be coming home from Ignite. We'll be going back there to watch our men's champion Smashing Mike go one-on-one with former WWE talent Eddie Dennis, along with lots of other matches on the first Ignite show of the year. There is 6 tickets left, and then it'll be sold out. They've already got tickets on for April. Following that, we speak to British standout talent Alex Windsor. You may know her as someone that's going out with Will Ospreay. So we're looking forward to speaking to her very much so. Welsh standout Dale Johnson will be coming on the 21st of February. We speak to the artist formerly known as Heath Slater. But Wednesday, Dave, we've got a very special one. So we can finally announce today that we have been selected by TNA to be some UK media press. And on Wednesday, we get to interview the Knockouts Tag Team Champions, Rosemary and Havoc, the Decay, who recently won the tag team championships at TNA Hard to Kill. So we're very much looking forward to that. And again, big thanks to TNA for giving us the opportunity to speak to your roster. Hopefully it's the start of many. We're very, very humbled and grateful that we have the opportunity. So again, a big thanks to that. He has been Matthew Edgar. That over there has been the problem child, Dave Robinson. I've been your host, Adam Cousins. And until next time, everybody, buckle down and stay safe.